video, I'll be going over concepts from the keyhole method for use during your first two layers. Now, this technique can be applied rather frequently and can be surprisingly helpful during solves. Keyhole F12 is an alternative method for solving the first two layers. It's not as fast or efficient as Frederick F12, but some elements from the method can be used during CFOP solves. That said, I'll show you a couple examples of solving the first two layers with this method, then I'll explain how you can incorporate some of its ideas into your solves. Solving with the keyhole method goes like this. First you solve the cross, then you solve the three corners in the bottom layer. Then using this remaining empty slot, you move it around to insert these three edges. You can see there. You are then left with one empty slot, which you solve with normal Frederick F12. A variation of this is to solve the cross, then three edges, like this, and then using this remaining empty slot, you insert these three corners, like this. But how can you use this during your solves? While solving the first two layers as you normally would, you may run into a case in which there's an unsolved slot with either an edge or a corner that is in its correct position and orientation, but its corresponding piece is not. In this situation, you can use an empty slot to solve the pair as you would with the keyhole method. For example, here I would move this bottom layer over, then insert this here, then move it back over, and I have this pair solved. In this situation, we'd have to move this over here, so we have to do a D2. And then we can insert this just like that, then move this back over, and we have this solved. As another example, here we have this edge in its correct position and orientation, but its corresponding corner is not. It's right here, so we can move this bottom layer over just like this to this empty slot, then insert this piece, then when we bring this over, this pair is solved. A relatively uncommon case in which this technique is very useful is when one corner is in its correct position and orientation, but its corresponding edge is not, and a different edge in a different slot is in its correct position and orientation, but its corresponding corner is not. In such a situation, we can solve both pairs simultaneously by pairing up the unsolved corner and edge pieces while inserting. For example, here we can move the bottom layer over, then pair up and insert these two pieces, and then move the bottom layer back. Keep in mind that it can be pretty difficult to recognize how the pieces should be paired up since the colors don't match up as they would with a normal pair. These ideas are also commonly used for X crosses. In this situation, we have these two pieces, this and this, so we can move this down, then move this over, and then bring this back down. So it's a pretty easy cross. However, we can also notice that this piece, when we move this down, will also be in its correct place. So something we can do is, before bringing this down and moving it over, something we can do is first insert this edge in its correct position, just like this, so when we move it over, we have this pair already made. It's worth noting that sometimes using this technique isn't very efficient and thus isn't worth the trouble. For example, I usually don't use this when there's an edge that's in its correct position and orientation, simply because the solution to such a case isn't that bad in the first place. Other situations in which I probably wouldn't use this technique are if rotations are needed or if the solution to an alternative F12 pair is significantly easier. As with everything, I strongly suggest that you try this out for yourself and try to incorporate it into your solves. Again, it's not a very difficult technique, but it can be very useful. So that is all for this video. If you found it helpful, be sure to press the like button and check out my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.